instead of having it at $200 a month, and there's no way, I was on my way to financial independence. So 9 years after I started, I was financially independent. So I was 37 when I hit financial independence, where my passive income exceeded my active income, factoring in inflation over 9 years. So that was around $200,000 a year doing nothing just off investments, practicing and teaching. But I didn't stop there. I kept increasing it. It got $256,000 in a month, more than I ever imagined I could ever save. But every time I invested my money and invested it and put it into that investments, when you manage money wisely, you get more money to manage. And all of a sudden, book deals are coming in, and I get royalties, passive income. Somebody wants me to come and speak, and they'll pay the fees, passive income, extra income. The investments are opportunities. Leveraging the brand started happening. Making products that were selling. Creative ideas started coming in to allow me to make secondary incomes and passive incomes and multiple streams of income in order to achieve this thing that I made a commitment to. And financial independence manifested. Faster than I imagined it when I started. I couldn't see light at the end of the tunnel when I started, but when I realized I could increase it every quarter, the second I made a habit out of it, 90 days, I said, let's increase it. Maximum growth and development occurs at the border of comfort and uncomfort. The second you're comfortable with a habit, make yourself just a little bit more uncomfortable, a 10% uncomfort, you won't react. And I just increased it 10% every quarter. And all of a sudden, my financial independence came there. I've seen this with doctors. When they follow that little format, their practices grow. If you don't have a demand on yourself, you won't get the extra supply. Force yourself. I did it with a guy in Trieste, Italy. He didn't even know it. His wife and I went in and automated his increase in his savings, and his practice grew up. I consulted with him in his office, and I gave him tips on what he can do to grow his practice. But it was that did it, and he did not know for 2 years that had happened. 2 years, because his wife was taking care of all the finances. 2 years later, he found he had way more money invested and saved than he ever imagined. He goes, oh my God, wow, how in the hell did you do that? He said, well, Dr. DeMartini, when he was here, we forced an accelerated savings, and your practice caught up to make sure you could do it. You don't wait to see if you have it. You take it out. You value yourself first. You pay yourself first, and then you attract business to be able to get that outcome. If you wait to see at the end and pay yourself last, you won't. Because entropy takes over the finances if you don't manage them wisely. Unexpected bills come in. Whatever your total unexpected bills are every month, find out how much it is and stick that into savings at the beginning of the month and watch the unexpecteds go down. Entropy is a byproduct of non-organized financial management.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this video and you'd like to see more content like this, please do me a favor. Just smash that like button, comment down below, or subscribe, and make sure you turn your notifications on so you can see more content just like this.
So the strategy was the forced accelerated savings technique. And I did it, automated it. I did not emotionalize it. Emotions destroy wealth building. Automation builds it. Don't get your emotions in the way. Automate it. Electronically transfer it from your bank account. I don't keep money in banks because of fractional reserves. I keep it into investment companies that have more stability. And I pass it through the banks right into the investment companies, and I accelerate it. And I've been doing it 41 years now. And it's amazing what it can do. Compound interest is the greatest wonder of the world, according to Einstein. And compound interest liberates you from a lot of crazies.
Good.
That helpful?
Yes.
So those are the 10 questions. The 10th question was, what was the strategy? And that was I couldn't come up with a strategy until I got the forced accelerated savings and the forced automated investment technique. Well, the first one is assets, the second liabilities, the third one is net worth, the fourth one is the total amount you require, the fifth one is the interest, the sixth one is the inflation, the seventh one is the total amount, the eighth one is what's the difference between them, the ninth one was the strategy, and in the strategy then you put as number 10, the forced accelerated savings with automation, where there's no emotion. Now, some of my students, I had a guy in France, this is so funny. I was doing a presentation to 200 doctors in France a number of years ago. This is 30 years ago. And I did this presentation. I shared just what I'm sharing with you. And I guess the translator mistranslated it. But the guy was there taking notes. And I saw this guy 25 years later, 5 years ago, at a conference. He comes up and he gives me a big hug and a kiss. He goes, "You're the man that made me wealthy." And I said, "Great." He says, "I did what you said. It's amazing." You know how the French speak. "I did what you say. It's amazing." And I said, "What did you do?" He says, "I did exactly what you said. I doubled my savings every month." I didn't want to tell him that's not what I said. But this guy just forced it in a more accelerated fashion than I did, and it worked. So I didn't want to say anything. I just left it at that. I thought, okay, leave the guy alone. It worked for him. But he became very financial, very viably, very quickly. If you can imagine doubling it every month, it's quite extensive. But he became very fortunate as a chiropractor in France, where most of that was undercover money in those days. Very common in those days. So just know that the money circulates through the economy from those who value it least to those who value it most. If you don't have a value on wealth building, whatever you have a value on is where your money will go. So unless you have a value on wealth building, don't expect financial independence. I've interviewed many people, over 100 billionaires and many centimillionaires, and also people in poverty. And if it's not in the top 4, financial independence doesn't occur. If it's not in your top 4 values, it doesn't occur. That's been consistent pattern I've seen in all the people I've interviewed. So that may not be important to you, but if it is, just know it will be required that you have a value on wealth building. My personal feeling is I wanted to empower all 7 areas of my life. Since I was 18 years old, I wanted to master my life. I saw the guy Kung Fu with David Carradine. You remember that? Anybody old enough to remember that? No? Some of you? You know it? 2 of you? You know what I'm talking about? And he had a master who was a Shaolin master from China. And he said, he called him grasshopper and he called him master. And I said, I like that. I want to be a master. And so I set out, what exactly is a master? And I divided life into 7 areas, categories, and I want to master all. I want to create original ideas that serve humanity. I remember writing that down at 18. I want to create original ideas that serve humanity. Something that's original, that's novel, that nobody's thought of, original ideas that serve human beings across planet Earth. I want to create a global business. I want to have students, patients globally since I was 18. I wanted to create financial independence, even though I wasn't prepared to it for 10 years. I wasn't 27 before I got grounded on that. Just had a fantasy, but I still wanted it. I want to have a global family, which is one of the reasons I live on a ship that goes all over the world, because I've always imagined, ever since I read Einstein, that he wasn't a man of his family, his community, his city, his state, his nation. He was a citizen of the world. I want to be a citizen of the world. That's why my ship is called the World. And I travel the world. I want to have a family that's global, and I want to imagine that no matter where I am, I'm never out of I'm at the home. Earth is home. So I'm never away from my family, and no matter what it is, instead of walking from room to room, I fly or sail. Instead of talking by just talking to somebody, I'll do Skype or Zoom or whatever mechanisms. But I wanted to have a global family dynamic. I wanted an astronomical vision with a global impact. I wanted to hang out with movers and shakers on the planet that did extraordinary things that are making a contribution in the 7 areas of life. So I made a list of all those type of people I'd like to meet. The ministers, prime ministers, the presidents, the celebrities, the royalties, whatever it is. I want to meet amazing people that do extraordinary things. Nobel Prize winners, Olympic medalists. And I wrote all those down. I said, I want to hang out in that category and surround myself with people that have global impact. I want to be physically vital and have more energy at the end of the day than when I start, because I'm doing what I love doing. Most people don't think I'm 69 almost, but I think that's the best year. How many would agree that 69 is the best position to be in? It's a bad joke. It didn't go over here. In some countries that actually works, but not here. But I wanted to be a vital, energetic guy, and I also wanted to create a movement on the planet that inspires people, not a religion, there's plenty of religions, but a movement that inspires people across the globe. That's what I wrote down when I was 18. And I'm a firm believer that whatever you write down, whatever is truly deeply meaningful, that you can keep doing the highest priority action steps every day to move in that direction to make that happen. And you can actually make every one of those things real. As a chiropractor, the value of being a chiropractor is you're automatically outside the box. You're automatically a different breed. And you're working with the most significant structure known on earth, the nervous system. You're working with the most empowered aspect of the nervous system, the impulse, the psychological impulse that's life. And you're specializing in the most specialized structure known in existence globally and internationally and astronomically. And you're helping people do something extraordinary on a daily basis with your hands, your heart, and your mind by being present and masterful at sharing a subluxation adjustment. So I had a dream to do that in my life, and if it wasn't for chiropractic, I wouldn't be here today. But I realized that I can do more for the chiropractic profession by doing what I'm doing now than I was in my cubicle, that's all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give Dr. John DeMartini a huge round of applause. I just want to say, first time you've been back in the UK since COVID, and there's no mistakes. There's no mistakes. You guys understand you're here for a reason, yes? So no, there's no mistakes. So John, thanks for being a part of our mastermind this weekend, and we feel so humbled to have you here. Your cab is waiting for you. and I just want to say thanks so much for everything this week, spending time to come down here. It was really tough to fit this mastermind into John's schedule, as you guys can imagine. And he's been working, every time he jumps on a webinar with me, etc., gives 100%. And did he give amazing, did he do well today? Yes. And so I don't know, I'll let him go. John, thank you so much. Give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. And Megan's great to join down there. Right. Have a seat. Okay. Quick, at your table, we're going to get you to lunch the next 10, 15 minutes, but at your tables, just quickly, share at your tables. What's your big takeaways? Go. Go at your tables, quickly. What's your big takeaways? Go. Have a seat. All right, good job. All right, good. Hey, guys, have you had a good morning? Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, good job. Listen, here's what I wanted to say to you guys all is, I don't know if you know, but when Dr. John says he sails the world on a boat, you guys know that he lives on a not a yacht, a cruise liner. Yeah, so when he says that, he lives on a cruise liner. I thought I'd tell you a little bit about this. So the cruise liner, just after 9/11 actually, there's 100 condos on the cruise liner. Okay, so 100 people own the cruise liner, and then they pay a quarterly surcharge. So 10 billionaires live there's about 100 billionaires in the world, what they say, right? 10 billionaires live on the yacht, and part of their quarterly surcharge is to pay for education. So they get to vote, and they're like flying presidents and stuff like that, and they have an amphitheater on the boat. And the last night I was chatting to John, and when you just ask a silly question, you're like, why did I ask that question? I said, I didn't know, I couldn't quite understand. When he said he sailed the world, I was like, that sounds lovely. And I didn't know, and then I went, after the question, I saw the boat, and before I had seen this super yacht, if you will, I said, what's the food like? And he just said, excellent. I said, if I want the food in my room, I can have it in my room. If I want them to cook for me, they can cook me in the room. If I want to go down to the kitchen and cook in the kitchen, I can do that. I can do whatever I want. I can tell them what I want, when I want. How many of you guys think that's pretty cool, yes? And he showed me, I was like, so who's like, also not quite knowing the cruise liner, who's on this boat, 100 owners own the whole boat. And he's like, she was officially the richest woman on the planet 2 years ago. She's now like third, or she's my 2 doors down.
Who's this?
I don't know, no. Yeah, it's just an oil magnate type thing. So, can you imagine their lunchtime conversation?
Oh man.
Pretty cool, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get you guys straight to lunch. But I just want to say, I've always had this belief. That what's the unquantifiable result from being in a room like this and listening to a man like that for that amount of time, when I have been messaged by 3 or 4 people. By the way, almost never do you get to see DeMartini for more than a 90-minute session anymore until until you go to one of his breakthroughs, etc. Almost never. So I was so excited to get you guys in a room, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you took the most out of it. But remember, there has to be action from this. Yes or yes? Yes. There has to be action from this, right? As he spoke about La La Land, etc. So when we come back from the break, is it okay if we do some action and some planning? Is that okay? Yes. Okay, awesome. So I appreciate you guys. Give yourselves a huge round of applause. By the way.